Good morning, this is Carly Kovachik with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City. Welcome to the weekly weather briefing for July 30th. Let's begin by going over what's currently going on across the region. On the left, I've shown the latest radar and satellite imagery, and on the right, I've shown the temperature and the frontal analysis. This is all valid around 10:30 this morning. On radar, which is shown on the top left, we see there's not much going on across the region. There's evidence of maybe one shower across the northeast Georgia mountains. This is definitely going to change as we go into the afternoon hours, but things are fairly quiet right now. Switching over to the top right, we see the latest frontal analysis indicating a cold front analyzed across a portion of the southeast. This is shown in the blue line. However, if we go to the bottom left image, which is the visible satellite image, we see a line of clouds extending from eastern Tennessee across northern Alabama and into northern Mississippi. This is more likely where the front is actually located. As evidenced on some observations which are not shown, dew points are in the lower to mid-60s behind this line of clouds across western Tennessee into western Kentucky, and dew points are in the lower 70s to the south of this line of clouds across Alabama and Georgia. This line of clouds that demarcates the front is going to be moving southeastward across our region as we go into the afternoon hours. And just for reference, current temperatures just shortly after 10 a.m. this morning are shown in the bottom right, with most of the region already creeping into the middle to upper 80s. Now let's delve a little further into what's going to happen today. Let's start by looking at the image on the top left. This is a surface analysis valid for this afternoon. We see a cold front extending across the eastern portion of the U.S. into the southeast. We see this located across North Georgia at this time. I also want to draw your attention to a surface trough, which is shown in the orange, located across western Georgia, extending into the southern portion of the state. These two boundaries are going to serve as a focus for thunderstorm and shower development as we go into the afternoon hours. Now on the right image, this is an image from the Storm Prediction Center. It's indicating that these two boundaries indicate a marginal risk for severe storms for this afternoon into this evening. This is mainly going to be for a damaging wind threat. Now I've shown on the bottom 3 different high-resolution models that we use. And this is mainly to give you an idea of the coverage and location of where we expect a majority of showers and thunderstorms to develop this afternoon. This is valid for around 4 to 5 p.m. tonight. We can see a majority of the development is going to be across central Georgia, but also a portion of North Georgia as well. You can see far North Georgia doesn't really seem to have very much development. This could be because there may be the chance of some drier air pushing in as the front moves through, which would limit the coverage of storms up there. However, we are going to keep a low chance of thunderstorms in our forecast, just in case the front is not as fast as the models are predicting. In addition to this, as far as temperatures are concerned, we are expecting another day of above normal temperatures, with most of the region seeing temperatures from the lower to upper 90s across the area. We're going to hold off on a heat advisory for today. That's not to say a couple locations in central Georgia won't see a heat index of 105 or greater. We're just not expecting this to be very widespread, and this is mostly due to some increased cloud cover today as compared to the previous days. Now for those wanting a little more insight into the severe chances as we go through today, this is what this slide is providing. Again, I'm showing the Storm Prediction Center's graphic on the left indicating a marginal risk for severe storms, generally south of a Rome to Blairsville line. With these storms, the main threats this afternoon are going to be damaging winds, frequent lightning, and locally heavy rainfall. And again, this is kind of what we've been seeing with the majority of the stronger storms the past several weeks. Again, this is highlighted mostly for central Georgia into parts of North Georgia. The expected timing for a majority of these stronger storms are going to be between 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. tonight. Now, there are several questions regarding the amount of development that we see and the intensity of these thunderstorms today. We see that far North Georgia is only highlighted in a general thunder category. This is because there is the possibility that some drier air could move into this region before we really destabilize this afternoon. Another thing that could suppress thunderstorm development and coverage this afternoon is going to be the influence of an upper level ridge in the atmosphere. This pattern has been around for a while now. We've seen this upper level ridge located right over the region, and then it'll shift west, and then it'll shift east again. So right now it's just located to our west, but we are still seeing a bit of an influence from it, which could tend to suppress widespread activity as we go into this afternoon. However, with the front around, we still are expecting a decent amount of coverage this afternoon, mainly across central Georgia. And again, some of those storms are capable of becoming severe, with the main threat being damaging wind. Alright, now let's move on to Friday. So we have a cold front that's going to push south across the area on Thursday. On Friday, this front is going to stall across the central portion of the state. And that's shown in the middle image on the bottom. This cold front, combined with some lingering moisture to its south, is going to be responsible for the development of some isolated to scattered thunderstorm development across central Georgia tomorrow afternoon. And I've shown the precipitation chances on the image on the bottom right. You can see a 30 to 40% chance across most of the central portion of the state. We're not expecting any severe weather with these. You'll also notice drier, more stable air beginning to push into North Georgia. This is going to act to limit any rain and storm chance across that area. I've tried to highlight that in the image on the bottom left. The brown colors indicate drier air, while the green colors indicate more moisture in the atmosphere. There's a little bit of uncertainty of just how far south this drier air is going to push tomorrow. That's why we have a gradient in our precipitation forecast. Again, we're expecting central Georgia to see most of the activity tomorrow, where North Georgia is going to experience more drier air, which is going to limit precipitation chances. This coming weekend is actually shaping up to be pretty nice. Let's start with Saturday. We are going to have evidence of that lingering cold front across the central portion of the state. This is going to keep those thunderstorm chances in the forecast, mainly about a 20 to 40% chance in the afternoon hours. I've shown an image of the humidity on the top and our precipitation chances on the bottom for the Saturday column. So you can see most of North Georgia is still experiencing that dry air with some lingering moisture across the central portion of the state. Moving on to Sunday, we see drier air beginning to gradually push further south into central Georgia now. And that's why we're only carrying about a 20% chance of storms going into Sunday. Again, there's going to be slight evidence of that cold front, but it's going to be very, very weak by Sunday. We're expecting a majority of the region to experience cooler temperatures, at least from what we've been seeing lately, and some lower humidity values, which I'm sure everybody is excited about. Same story as we go into the early portion of next week, looking at continued dry conditions for the most part. Still going to see evidence of a very weak lingering front across central Georgia, and this may act to spark a few thunderstorms during the afternoon on Monday. However, we are expecting this front to be dissipated by Tuesday. However, one model is showing the possibility of a secondary dry cold front, and that's shown on the bottom right image. You can see those white-green colors just north of Georgia. That's an indication of another frontal boundary, but again, at this point it looks dry, and it's the only model showing it right now, so we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, we are going to start to see those temperatures begin to increase again by Tuesday, and those humidity values ramp up again. Our longer range models really begin to diverge by Wednesday. One model, which is shown on the top left, is indicating a flow pattern from the southwest. This would act to increase moisture and really ramp up those rain chances by the middle portion of next week. However, another model, which is shown on the bottom right, is indicating a flow pattern from the northwest. This would continue our drier pattern and really suppress those rain chances through the middle portion of next week. It's unclear which model to go by as of right now, but our latest forecast is going to trend on the drier side for now, but stay tuned for updates on that. I'm going to go through this slide fairly quickly, and you can feel free to pause this and study it more at your leisure, but I basically just wanted to show the 7-day outlook from North Georgia to South Georgia for the next 7 days. So the top outlook is for Cleveland, the middle one is for Atlanta, and the one on the bottom is for Macon. Basically, the highlights on this, we're going to see continued warm temperatures with a mostly dry forecast generally Friday through Tuesday. The highest rain chances during that period are going to be across central Georgia, where we have that stalled cold front lingering. We're going to see relatively lower humidity this weekend into the early portion of next week. We'll see that moisture most likely begin to increase by Tuesday. We do have a low confidence in the expected pattern by the middle portion of next week. It could really go either way, that being dry or moist. Alright, it is hurricane season, so it's only appropriate to take at least a glance at the tropics. The National Hurricane Center has highlighted two different areas of disorganized weather. One is shown just off the coast of the eastern United States and another off the west coast of Africa. That image is what's shown on the left here. Very low chance of development over the next 5 days, but I did want to show a real-time satellite imagery of what these disturbances do look like as of right now and where they're located, so if you are so inclined you can monitor these yourself over the next week or so. But you can see one I've highlighted or circled in black just off the east coast of Florida. That's that first yellow X that the Hurricane Center has shown in their image. We'll be watching the development of that over the next several days. And then again, I've circled the other disturbance in black just off the west coast of Africa. So that's where that area of disorganized shower and thunderstorm development is located right now, and that is what everyone's going to be monitoring over the next week or so as well. As of right now, it doesn't look like either of these are going to impact Georgia for the time being. So a brief summary, we have a cold front that's going to bring a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms today across a portion of North Georgia and most of Central Georgia. The main threat with this is going to be strong, damaging winds. We're going to have some drier air move in from north to south Friday through Sunday. This is going to limit storm chances gradually through this area. There is going to be a weak stalled cold front that could lead to isolated development across central Georgia during this period, but not expecting too much and nothing severe at this point. We're going to see those temperatures gradually warm and that humidity begin to rise by next week. We're expecting mostly dry conditions Monday and Tuesday. The models begin to diverge on Wednesday, so we'll be monitoring that. The tropics are slightly more active right now, but there is no threat to Georgia. That concludes this week's weather briefing. We will provide another one next Thursday, sometime during the late morning, early afternoon hours. Thanks for listening.